Steve, Kaylin, Baja, thank you all for joining us. We're just getting everything situated right now so that we can go live and do what we need to do. Christopher, thank you for joining us. We're just letting our epoxy resin heat up for a few. And another way we can actually do that, I'm going to do this too, because if he's on, he's going to want to pop in and see this. Omni, thank you for joining us. If you wanted to, you can hop on in as well as a guest. I'm just getting my gloves ready. Danny, thank you for joining us. We are working on our resin today. Understandable. I'm not going to hold that against you. We are going to be running out of so many pipettes. We're going to need more. So for some reason, our resin actually sticks within our pipettes when we're making our dice. And we use them. So we'll have to see how that works out. Doo Paints, thank you for joining us. Everyone that is joining, I want to thank everyone for joining us. We're getting our gloves ready right now. We are making some dice. We made a few sets yesterday. They were all failures. Sally, is dice making tricky? It can be. So there's a couple of ways to make it not so tricky. The biggest hurdle all dice makers really experience is bubbles in the resin. There's a few ways you can get around that. Step one is really to just, when you're using your epoxy resin and you're running into bubbles, what you can do is heat up your water or heat up your resin in a water. Now that's going to also speed up your curing time. So I want you all to be made aware of that. Problem Boy VR, thank you for joining us. So for those that have not followed the channel before, what we typically do is we do a live over on TikTok and we do a live over on YouTube. So if you see me look over here and answering people, it's because they're over on YouTube. If you see me looking this way and you're on YouTube, it's because I'm answering people on TikTok. Like I was saying, though, it really depends. It can be difficult. Yeah, so you can use a blowtorch. I have a heat gun I use to get rid of bubbles. However, those are just surface bubbles. You may end up with bubbles inside your dice. Now, the way that people get rid of those are with a pressure pot. We don't have a pressure pot yet. We are working on it. I'm hoping that by the end of, or even I'd say July, by the end of July, we are hoping that we have one specifically for dice making, because that's going to open up so many avenues for us. Right now, our main avenues for dice making is just heating up the resin in a bowl of water, which speeds up the process. Now, anytime you heat up resin, that's going to speed up the curing time. Now, really, anytime you're using any type of resin, you want to make sure that you're following the instructions on it, making sure that any what's what I'm looking for? Any hazmat stuff that may be needed is followed to a T. I've been doing this long enough that I know this specific brand of resin. So I don't need a respirator. However, I do highly recommend gloves. If your hands dry out like mine do, especially during winter time, it sucks. So what we're going to do is we need to fill this up to 150 because we're going to need a full 300 milliliters. However, since we're doing a 2-pour split, what we need to do is 150 and divide that by half. So that would be 75. Because this is 2-part resin. And you're going to be able to see it easier over on YouTube right now. But what you just do is you just take it, you pour it high up. You want it to be a little bit liquidy, a little bit syrupy, but not too syrupy. You pour the part A, which is typically the resin, in first. You can do part B first. However, I find that using the part A first works so much better for it. Yes, when using a resin printer, you definitely want to make sure you have you're well ventilated for sure. You definitely want to make sure that. Just like with me, I use what's what I was looking for? I got tongue tied there. I use spray paint indoors sometimes when it's really cold. That's not something you want to do, but at the time, it's all I really could do. Tori, thank you for joining us. I hope everything's doing good over at the family. For those that do not know, Tori is one of my little cousins. I was going to say my baby cousin, but I remembered she has a younger sibling. And yes, she can testify. I have always been this insane. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting these poured for the 2-part split that we're about to do. I'm going to mix them both up. Now, when you're mixing epoxy resin, you are roughly going to be mixing it for roughly 5 minutes, give or take. And all you use now, I'm going to get it here on the camera. You see how you can see all that streaks? That's the part A and the part B. That's how you can tell that it's not mixed. When you still see streaks, that is how you know you still have more to mix of it. Now it's going to take about 3 to 5 minutes, like I said, to mix properly. But what we're doing is we're making a dice set and a dice box. The dice box and set are both commissions for our very own Turnadust. As I've said throughout all of my live streams, all commissions will be done on camera. This way, if there's anything that, say, I'm doing while I'm painting, that you're like, you know what, I want to make that a little bit darker, we can work with you and make it darker. Or if I'm doing a commission for dice and you're wanting a specific color, you can get that specific color. We try to work with our customers as best as we can. Those of you that remember when we painted up the Kaplaniana a few months ago, that was a commission. And with that commission, we were asking every day when they were on live with us, is this what you're looking for? Do you want me to go darker this way? Do you want lighter this at this level? Everything. We try to make it as easy and accessible for you guys. You're going to be priming up some Death Guard Omni? That sounds great. I don't have any figures I need primed right now. I got one that I could prime, but we're not going to. Mama Scarecrow, Simone, thank you for joining us. Mainly because right now I think we need to focus more on our dice making. We're really good at that. And we got a lot that we are looking to bring to the community, such as what we are calling the big one. You guys are actually going to see me make a big one today on our live. The issue is I don't know how much resin is actually going to be needed to make it, so I'm a little nervous. Because it takes 300 milliliters to make a dice set and a corresponding dice box. Whereas with the big one, there is no documentation on how much resin is needed for me to make it. Strike Curious, thank you for joining us. But yes, that is the big one. The big one is a dice box in the shape of a giant D20. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our spoon. Fully understand, Omni. You have a great time. Have a great day. We're going to take 2 scoops. Should do it for each. We're going to mix this into it. Lisa, thank you for joining us. Where is my bright red? Yeah, there it is. DD Devlin, thank you for joining us. Phil Round, thank you for joining us. Brandon, thank you for joining us. We are getting everything situated for our next dice pour. And in fact, I'm going to add just a touch of carbon black into that red. If you guys like what you see, please definitely give us a like and a follow as well. We strive to make great content for everybody on TikTok, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Fanbase, everything that we are associated with. We do our best to make sure that everybody is following us, following those that do follow us, everything like that. Dre, thank you for joining us. Heavenly Hugh, thank you for joining. Well, we're making some dice today. Now, the dice we're making, we call watermelon. Now, I was hoping that our pour from yesterday would have worked, because then we could get into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to make dice. Such as curing the resin and making sure that while it is curing, that everything that we are using mixes properly and everything like that. And that with it being cured, we can actually add it into or go into inking and sanding and everything like that. But you know what? We're not going to use this mold. This mold should be the same as one of my other molds that we just got, which I think is going to be a little bit easier. Now, where is it? Oh, right here. Now, the good news with this one is the customer already has said they don't want one of our extra or one of our new D4s. They just want the original D4 and the other 6. But no, we're going to go back. We're going to go back and use that old one. I think that's still going to be the best option for us. Because it's a little bit easier, we already know what we're doing with it. Hake 3D Prints, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. Cryptids, thank you for joining. We are making dice. We're going to do a 2-tone. We call this set watermelon. It is just green and red with black lettering. This is just regular mica powder you can buy on Amazon. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that air out for a little bit before we actually pour. Now, one thing I am curious about is because, like, if you look at this set, because it's got these gaps, I can pull that apart, no issue, and push out. However, with this new mold, I'm kind of curious on how that was going to work, because I can't really, I guess I could. We're going to use the new mold as well today, so that's not an issue. It's more so, do I want to test it out on that? I know we definitely want to test out a new, one of the new D4s on how it would actually look. So we will have to wait and see on that. And of course, hold on, everyone. My wheel got caught underneath my charger. What I'm doing is I'm just pulling this up so that I can hit it for a little bit. And pop any air bubbles. So this next part I'm not going to be able to really show on camera. So I'm going to do my best to get it to where it needs to be so that we can do the pour. So I'm just trying to clean up some areas. Okay, so I'm just doing the D4 for right now. And what I'm doing, since the D4 typically has a little bit, from what we're seeing, of a surface area issue with this tip, I'm just filling it up. And this is the only one that I've had an issue with where it doesn't want to actually fill up right there. So I was just filling that up real quick with that. Okay, so we got it all in there. Death Cafe, thank you for the likes. I appreciate it severely, buddy. Now all I'm doing is I'm just hitting this in. I'm trying to hit it enough to where all that surface bubbles will drop down. Because we still have to put a little bit on top. There we go. Now I'm just going to overflow that. Because as it cures, what's going to end up happening with this is when we push down, everything is going to eventually push lower and sink as well as squish out. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, gotta move that to the side real quick. I'm just going to scrape this top resin that's going to go onto the cap around a bit, trying to keep it off the edge because we're going to flip it. I gotta grab that real quick as well. But I'm going to smack that on top here. I'm going to squish that down, make sure that doesn't hit any of that. And then I'm going to take, where did it go? Bear with me, everyone. We had a test pour that we were going to use as, oh, my drink's on top. So what we're doing is we're trying to use this as a weight for those numbers. Now this is what it looks like. Let me flip that camera around. So this is what we got going so far. We got a dice in there. Now normally I would actually hit that with a second blow of an air gun, but because of what the because of how the lid was actually trying to seep over, we didn't have enough time to hit it with that second blow. But then we have our dice box being made right there. Ugh. And that's pretty much that set. Like I said, it's really not that difficult. Really the hardest part is making sure that we get everything out of the cups, because if we don't, it makes it a little bit more difficult to clean. Now, if we had silicone cups, solely silicone cups, I should say, because we do have some silicone cups, but if we solely had silicone cups, this would be so much easier. I wish we had silicone measuring cups. Sadly, we don't. But that's how we make that dice. And now what we're going to do is we have to let that one cure. It'll take about what's what I'm looking for? It'll take roughly 24 hours to cure. So when we come back from work tomorrow and we go live, that should be ready. So you guys saw me use mica powder with that. With the next one, I'm actually going to use alcohol inks. So let's get our alcohol inks out, figure out which one we want to use based on our card here. I'm thinking we do a sapphire blue or cerulean. Actually, no, I take that back. We need black. No. And of course, all these are mixed up, so I don't know where anything is. Medium yellow. What's medium yellow look like? Ooh, I like medium yellow better. we are actually going to do something that we've been talking about for a while now, which is our, what's raspberry? Look like, no, too pink. It's what we're calling our One Ring set. Now with the One Ring set, no. Where's that walnut? The One Ring set is essentially Lord of the Rings. There it is. So what I was looking for was a gray, a red, a orange, and a yellow. First I gotta snip off everything on them. Don't know where we can actually get some of the alcohol ink to show through. Make sure to wear safety goggles, so you don't get splashed in the eye like I just did. Okay. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take these alcohol inks, we're going to slowly introduce them into our resin as we pour our resin back into something along the lines of my four. This. So what we're first going to do is we're going to take our One Rings and we're going to de-sprue them with our clippers. Now these are just little Lego pieces I was able to find on Amazon. Now, it says, okay, yeah, you didn't even need the clippers. You can literally just unscrew them. I was about to say, because on the box it says you can unscrew them, or on the website it says, oh, they're easily removable. You can just unscrew them and go from there. Now, the original idea for these were to have them inside liquid core, which we're going to do sometime this week. Not sure if it'll be this. Not sure if it'll be today. Only because I gotta see if these will fit in my new. Well, actually, I can do that right now. I don't know why I didn't think about doing that before. Okay, bear with me. Move my drink over there. I can own trash here. I know we don't got a lot of people on right now, but I do want to mention our affiliates. We do have many of them. 13 of them to be precise, ranging from dice making all the way to miniature painting. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just checking to see if with either of these new D4s, yes, that'll work. We'll be able to do it today. Definitely today. Just remind me not to pour it into the original D4 and to put it into the crystal D4. We can do some liquid core today as well. But the original idea for this was that these were going to go into liquid core. However, our beads are not big enough for liquid core or for these to be used in liquid core. Same with our sugar skulls that we use with our epoxy resin. So this is what the sugar skull did. Let me pull out. This is our box of failures from last night. Let me just try to rip off this giant chunk real quick. So this is what we were doing. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I'll show an example real quick. It might not be easily seen, but you'll understand why we did it this way. They're glow in the dark. That was our original idea for them. They work. The idea works. It's just the actual making of that set failed. We have to figure out why it failed and move away from it. So with this, we are going to do probably I would say I don't want to pour too little because that's how we got into that. So we could probably do 125 or 100. But in reality, it should only be 50. So let's try 50 again first. If we have to make more, we will make more. 50 worked on the other ones, though. Or, no, we did have to go up a little bit more. So let's do 100, and anything that we have extra, we can pour. Yeah, if we have extra, we'll just pour it into one of our other molds that we have. So we got plenty that we can work on. I'm just trying to limit the amount of colorant that's going in here, which is why we're going to be using this. Because if we add colorant to it, what ends up happening, sadly, is the inability to actually mix more with that cup. So like I have to wait for this all to harden. Same with all this. Because I can't dispose of that in the sink. We just have to sit there and wait. Which I don't have an issue with waiting. It's just if I'm going to be doing multiple pours, I want to do multiple pours. Like, where can I move this to for right now? I'll just put it right here. Move you right there. This way that you guys are out of the way. Like, I want to do that dice box. I want to do this dice box. So right now we got to use this. Push that back though. Make sure I move you here. I'll put you right about there. That should be about a good place for you to be. So what's going to happen is we're going to pour into this mold and onto this mold. And then we are going to add our rings to it, add our colorant to resin that we're going to put inside that 4-way split. And we're going to pour that onto the dice. Now, this is just to get an idea of if this will work. Now, you don't want to put the dice in first, or the inserts in first, because then it's just going to sink. It's not going to get any resin around it. You want to put a little bit of resin in first so that you can mix around it, make sure everything looks good, and then go from there. With this mixture, it's going to be unique. I mean, I'm excited to see how it looks. It feels good to get our commission that we did have done. Hopefully that dice comes out spotless. What I can also do to make sure it does, yep, because I already see one major flaw. We gotta scoop up some more and put some more back in here because otherwise it's not going to actually make that top. Okay, hopefully that's better. Like I said, this is an actual commission. We don't want this to have any defects at all. So we're trying to get as much back in there as we can. I don't know why that one decided to do that. This mold has never done that. That's the strange part that I'm seeing. It's never just squished out to where everything, like an entire face, was experiencing voids. Like a top face. I've had it to where bottom faces were experiencing voids, but never a top face. That's a little weird. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blow with an air gun or my heat gun. Now I'm just going to pour just a little bit. And that was a little too much on that D4, but that'll sink down in. Okay. So what I did, I just turned it to us. Thank you for joining us. We are working on your commission as we speak. It did have a defect when we worked on it yesterday. So what we're hoping for, I'm having to continuously move it because I am noticing some voids are popping up. I'm having to add a little bit more as we move on, trying to prevent those voids from popping up further. But we got your dice box made. We got your dice attempting to be made for, like I said, for some reason, this one mold that's never experienced this issue before. I'm going to try to do it without the lid. I'm going to see if that makes a difference. Hopefully these numbers get pushed in. I hope they do. If not, I can always redo your dice. Because your dice mold is good. This was the test run of the dice mold. I did not like how we ran out of material and we used some old resin from our other experiments from yesterday to make it go all the way through. But we'll see how that works. Now what I need, it's because it's for you know, it's just being strange. Now what we're doing right now is we're working on our mold that we call one. We're going to be working on what we call the one ring. Why am I using this? I need to be using here. Minner, thank you for joining us. Okay. Lydia, thank you for joining us. We are working on what we call, I gotta get one more, looks like. I'm only showing that I got, yeah, that would make sense. 4 on a tab. We call this set the one ring. Now, what I like about these rings that we got is that not only could they be used for like what we're doing right now, which is a Lord of the Rings dice set, but they could also be used for, say, Sonic, a Shadow set, Tails, really anything that has a ring, really. I mean, we can even do wedding sets like white and black or the colors of your wedding party. There's so many avenues that I can take with this. That's what I love about dice making, is there's so much that I can do that's just unique. But yeah, it turned out I really don't know why it was showing like that on this dice set. That it's one of the weirdest conundrums I've ever seen with you making dice. Corey, thank you for the candy. I appreciate it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pour a little bit of this resin into each of these. How much that left me with about 50, right? Yeah, that left me with like right at 50. So now all I'm gonna do, don't want that getting stuck. Joe Higg, thank you for joining us. I'm just dropping a little bit of alcohol ink in here. Oh, almost did the wrong color. Now what I could do is I could do it this way, if this works. And then I just go all the way down. Let's see, did that work? Ooh, that did work. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of a red, somewhat cloud. To the dice, real quick. For AK, thank you for joining us. Of course, that's the wrong time to do that whenever I'm trying to do a pour. So now I feel that, yeah, black would have been the better color. But that's all part of dice making. A lot of it is experimenting. I mean, if I wasn't experimenting, I wouldn't realize that a lot of what we've done, I wouldn't have learned. Okay. So that definitely filled it up exactly where we wanted it, which is good news. Okay. Okay. So, I'm just going to take that old box. Seal one right, yeah. I'm going to set it on top, see if that fixes up the issue. Okay. So first and foremost, I gotta wipe down my pants legs. There's a little bit of spillage. Sometimes spills do happen when you're working with resin. We try to prevent them as best as we can. But, I mean, it's a part of the game. So we're going to wait to see how that one turns out. While we're waiting, we do got what looks like just enough for another set of dice. So instead of doing the liquid core, let's do some bullet dice. Let me find that mold. Now I need some more inks on black. So now I got black right up here. Right there. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do black. I'm going to do red. Now, I know I said that we don't want to mix it in here. We're not. We're going to mix it in this one because we shouldn't have a need for 3 colors. Do we? No. Dice Dynasty, thank you for joining us. My apologies for not seeing you joining us. Same with you, Sonny. Part of what I'm doing as well is I'm just trying to, any excess that did leak over that I have a feeling is going to cause a void, I'm just adding quickly while it's still curing to my molds. So let's do some red bullet dice. Or actually, no, let's do green. We got this nice aqua, but there's also this, sapphire blue. Sapphire blue. I said sapphire, but I'm gonna grab midnight. I'm looking at that midnight blue on here, and it looks too beautiful. I know it's around here. It's right here. Dan the Boatman, thank you for joining us. We're just getting everything situated. I appreciate you joining us. I would do Petri, except for I don't know if that would work on the bullet dice molds. With the bullet dice, now we're running out of spoons as well. This is going to probably be our last mixture. I like this. Then we still have to do, I want to do one test of the liquid core. Where'd the lid to the bullet dice go? Oh, I see it. Okay. We're running out of room. Put my clean one over here. So this is the blue that we're going to be using. Oh, kind of just. Now, what I like about this set is I can actually just hold it. Oh, I got some gnawing. Got a little bit of resin on my phone. I don't like that. Now, the one thing with this set that I still cannot figure out is the dice box itself that came with the set. It is really convoluted with how they made it. Here's what I mean by convoluted. I mean, I can tell where something is supposed to be. Okay, come on. Get it back down. Get it back down. There you go. I was fixing up a little problem I saw with your dice there, Turn to Dust. I'm trying to get your dice as perfect as possible since they are commissioned. Lady Hammer, thank you for joining us. We are making dice today. Where did I put there? It is. It is going good, though. I do appreciate you asking. So we have a couple sets going on right now. We have some bullet dice that we're making right now. We have what we call our one ring set, which is little Lego pieces of what one could consider the One Ring from The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, with some alcohol inks. And then we have Turn to Dust's set that is called Watermelon. I'll show what watermelon looks like here. It's at the very bottom of my sets, so it's going to take some time to get to. Bear with me and I will show off what watermelon looks like. And then we are going to try and do our first liquid core as well. We try to be somewhat creative here. There we go. Ooh, I want to move that. Squish, squish, squish. The sad part that I had, the only thing I hate about dice making is the wait time. The fact that I gotta wait minimum 12 hours. Minimum 8 hours, maximum 12 hours for full cureness. To make sure that there's no defects. Now, if I had a pressure pot, this would be a lot easier. But we are running out of room to do our liquid core. So I'm going to have to move you to the ground for now. So that's a great question. These are air dry. I do have UV resin. A lot of my miniatures that you see on my web or on my well, on my website as well in my gallery that have additions to them, such as lava bases like this, or like blood effects. That is usually done by UV resin by me. We also have the big one we could do, but I'm not sure how much resin takes up the big one. For those that don't know what the big one is, I'm going to show you. This is the big one. Right here. Slide you into there. You slide into there. The big one is a 4-inch D20 dice box. This is the mold for the big one. But look, I did promise to show off watermelon. So this is a failed watermelon box. There was not enough material to make it all the way through. But bear with me. Gotta move all the other. So it's a dump in. I'll pull out the big one here again in a second again. But this is what watermelon is supposed to look like. And this is the dice and how they look. Now, obviously, the actual like mixture of green and red is going to change the amount that's in it. I'm not always going to be able to get them to look exactly the same, but this is essentially what we strive for, is trying to get them that much, trying to get a good even balance of red and green. Okay. I need to take a drink real quick. So I need to take off my gloves. And we'll swap out gloves as well. You want to use gloves when you're making dice because of the fact that, one, you're dealing with a really sticky substance. Lady Hammer, you have a great time and have a good night. But you want to use dice or gloves when you're making dice because you're working with a very sticky substance, like I said. I mean, one little instance and it can actually like ruin your hands. I mean, I came in here a few times last night and accidentally touched some resin and it ruined my hand to the point where I couldn't even hold anything. Dice Dynasty, thank you for joining us. This is the mold we're going to use for the liquid core. Oh, and for those of you that want to see what a defective bullet dice D6 looks like, this is what a clear one looks like. And they do, what I like about these is it's hard to make out because it was defective, but it does state like it's a D6 on the top there. So like when you pull it out, if you have it right here, you can look at the bottom and be like, is that the D6 or is that the D4? Oh, it's the D6. Okay. Okay. So first and foremost, we're gonna want to do. We're gonna want to get. Ooh, I don't like how that looked. Is that okay? That's the actual support there. Okay. We're gonna want to get out. So I have to make sure I got some glitter for it as well first. I like that. That. We'll just use some mica powder. So what we're going to do is we're going to use alcohol inks first for the outside sets. I'm thinking a purple, like a raspberry, which should be, or even a rose. Which rose would like? Ooh, yeah, I like rose. Just a drop of rose would do. Bear with me, I gotta sort out all of my alcohol inks just decided to fall over. Bear with me. Actually, no, we'll use an aqua. We didn't get a good enough look at aqua from yesterday, so we're going to look at that today. Okay. So, next we need mica powder. Since we're doing an aqua, I think we should do silver. Silver liquid core. Do I have a silver liquid core already open? Yes, I do. Okay. So, in order for me to do this, first I gotta open up our glycerin. This is just vegetable glycerin. Same stuff that you can put on your hands to make your skin a little bit more soft and heal faster. And this is why I kept the water down here. So, first we're going to add a small spoonful . Okay, so what did I do with that one I took out right there? Okay, so I'm just going to fill up about halfway with water. about halfway with glycerin. And then I'm just going to take where did my UV? This is the what's going to take the longest is getting the UV to do what it needs to do. It can't touch the water, otherwise it's not going to work. We don't want it to spill because then epoxy resin's not going to do what it needs to do. Now we're only going to do one for today. But essentially, you'll get something that looks like that. I'm trying to get to actually move. Because like I can see it moving, I just don't know if you guys can see it actually moving. We might have left too much of an opening. Yeah. Yeah, it's starting to get hard to see for me in person as well. We'll have to work on that. We might just call this one a dud and move on to another project. Because we can use this for another thing we're working on. And I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're just going to mix up enough for another set. Just one set. So let's double check something here. Because I can't remember, did it fit in all of them? Fit there. Fit there. Fit there. Okay. So turn to dust. I'm going to give you a question. I'm going to let you choose 1, 2, or 3. 3. Okay. So blue, green, or purple? Purple. Okay. So let's get out our final mixture. Okay. So this is going to be the final mixture that we do for the live today. We were going to do our what do you call it? It's not in my tongue too. Liquid core. But what we have chosen to do now instead, to make it easier on ourselves, okay, that needs to go with the other. That's another set of gloves. Got a set right here that I can use, or could have if it wasn't. Oh, we can just simply wash our hands really well. So what we're going to do is you have chosen the Prismatic D4 with glow-in-the-dark pigment. And I got to take off this pigment lid. Just remember that they have these. Hummer 3D30, thanks for joining us. With purple sugar skulls. It is pretty cool when you think about it. Where's my lid for my UV resin just go off to? There it is. We just got so much we got going on right now. Now, if this works the way it's intended, then the idea is we are going to be selling both of these sets. The One Ring and the Sugar Skull sets. The idea is that we're going to be selling both of them. We want them both to really just be sold. We want them both to work so we can sell them. The bullet dice we will sell. The dice box for them, we got to figure out how it's supposed to work, because a normal dice box I would pour right there. However, that's all lifted, and there is an indentation right there. That one is lifted up on that side. I'm not sure how it's supposed to work. I'll be able to figure it out though. I gotta clean it out anyway. It's got like some fuzz. So what I'm hoping for is that this all works out. Each set that we've made today has no defects. Specifically yours. I'm hoping that yours has 0. I'd hate to make it a third time. The dice box is going to be perfect. I can tell that much already looking at it. Like there's not even a bubble on the surface. The the dice, your dice specifically, is what's worrying me a little. If there is a defect, I can easily get it out. I've been looking up some more remedies of how I can do that. Where is all this fuzz coming from? Okay, so pretty much what I do first to make my candy skull dice. Oh, I poured that in the wrong hole. Dang it. Hold on. So used to pouring it directly into the D4, to the traditional D4. That's like the first place I poured it in. I was like, oh, that's exactly where I need to pour it. Nope. We're doing prismatic. But I just take it and I drop it in. And if I feel I need to move it around to get the face pointing down, I just move it around a little. Like that one's pointing straight up. We don't want it straight up. We want it to face down towards that face of the die. Now, I want to talk about the future of the company real quick. For those that have not seen on our website, we do have several new affiliates, as well as some big news that we want to share. There is possibility we will be raising our prices. Here's why I say that there's a possibility. I'm not going to sit here and just willy-nilly raise my prices just because I can. However, if it comes down to us potentially getting what's called a master set of dice, which is a set of dice with our own logo built onto it, we will be increasing our dice prices. After speaking with several friends in the community as well, they're worried about my commission pricing for miniature painting, quoting that it isn't that it is too low, but that they are worried that it is what's the word they used? Not that it's too low, but that it's more so them concerned that I'm underselling my work, which I'll be completely real with y'all, is they're completely right about that. Judging by what others are charging for their work, we are and have been underselling ourselves for quite a while. I'm not saying that we're going to increase it by like 150%, but our $10 miniatures might go to per hour. Same with our $30 miniature, we might start charging per hour as well. Well, I'm glad that I made sure that that fit. However, now we have too much resin. And I'm glad that people are understanding that we may have to increase our prices. I don't want to increase our prices. I think that our price point is fair. However, I do see where people are coming from, stating that it's that I'm underselling myself based solely off of their pricing. Emma, thank you for joining us. Everybody that is joining, thank you for joining. So we got just enough of this purple that we could actually go and make another dice set as well. We just have to move stuff around. You're going right there. Or, better yet, let's see if this works. So this was one of these surprises that I kept from y'all. Now, I want to do a dice box still today. We don't got enough. Could probably make some more up. Yeah, let's just make some more up so that we know that we have everything good. So I need that to go up here. Ooh, don't spill out. There we go. I need you. And I need... There's your time. You. Okay. Let's mix about 50 more milliliters up, both. You gotta see where the 50 is first. Let's see where the 50 is on that side. So what we're doing is we're making, what did I do with the lid? There it is. We're making a quick little dice box. Out of our remaining UV resin, we're just gonna eyeball the half and half of this. This isn't going to be exactly scientific perfect because we've been mixing so much lately. But this is one of the secrets that we were talking about, that I didn't want to tell you everything we were going to be making on our channel anymore. And this is one of them. This is what I call, like, everyone's got a dice box. Not everybody has a dice chest, which is what this is. And it is exactly how it sounds. This will be a treasure chest for dice. And the fun part is I actually have to use UV resin to connect the two, because that's what the top looks like. But it's two separate parts for the top. Now this is another thing that we are going to be selling. We just got to make sure we get it done properly. Like I said, this mixture is not going to be 100%. Even I know that just because of the fact that of how we mixed it. But I wanted something I could put the extra excess resin in. So this is what we got. Am I going to need more than what I got? Potentially. No. Now, what's fun about this mixture that we're doing right now is that every part of it, because there's 4 parts to it, but essentially the reason why I like it is because they make sure that you understand how everything is supposed to be. put a little bit more right there because that's going to lead to a void. I don't. See what's right there. There we go. And we got a little bit extra that we can just leave in there with the spoon. What I'm really liking is I'm liking what I'm seeing with the one ring set. The orange and the brown, or the orange and the gray is kind of like mixing together. And I don't want to lift up anything yet because these are still going to be way too coarse to do or uncured to do anything with. Like I said, I'm really hoping that Turn to Dust turns out perfect. The bullet dice, I'm hoping we don't have any defects. We're probably going to have one or two. But the main goal of this is to just give an example of what we can do so that we can get them set up on our shop. I'm really excited to see how the cage works. I know it isn't going to be 100% because we rushed that. But it's going to be a nice little piece. Because what ends up happening is we got these brackets that I put on the cage parts. And then we also got this set that we're going to use tomorrow. I gotta open it still. Oh, what the heck? Okay, there we go. It's so new, like this mold maker's made it so new that it actually has never been even opened to see if there's any defects. That's a little scary. But based on what I'm showing here, I like it. But what I like about this is the numbers are going to be raised. And what that does is you can actually like run your finger across it to tell what the number is. But also it's going to have a lip around the edge. I will say I'm not a fan of the key on this one because that is a lot to make sure that I have locked in. But now we have 4 different sets of dice, like normal sets we can make. We got 1 different dice in general with the bullet dice molds. And now we have 1, 2, 3 different dice boxes we can make, as well as I wanted to save that, or 4 because we got the big one. If you want to buy singles, we do sell singles. I know one worry that everyone was messaging me about was, well, how are you making sure that the singles are not going to be loose or whatnot? And it got me thinking. I'm like, well, that's a great question. How am I going to properly package my dice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're missing one. Which one are we missing? We are missing the D100. I see it. And this is the answer. Everyone gets a dice bag if they buy singles from our website. Now, my bad, not D100, a percentile. It's essentially the same thing. It's just it works a little bit differently. But yeah, everybody gets a dice bag now. So, as you just saw there, shake resistance is not there with these dice bags. So be mindful of that when you use them. But they do tie. So with them being tied, shake resistance is there. There's 2 little drawstrings, and it works. It's exactly what we want for singles. We are talking about potentially putting our logo on these. We just don't have any way of really doing that yet. We want to. We just don't have a way of doing it yet. I think it'd be cool to have our logo on these. Maybe sell the dice bags individually as well. Once we get the logo on there. But with that, I think that's really all we can do as of today. Tomorrow, after we get back on live, we will demold everything. We will also make sure that everything is where it needs to be for commission bases and everything like that. And for commissioned dice, we're going to do any patchwork at that point. And then we will also do, like, for instance, is that going to be a void? That's what I'm trying to prevent. There we go. One good thing about it not being fully cured is I can go back in and work around with it. But we'll fix any issues with any dice. We will sand them. We will get them polished up. And we will make sure that everything looks like it should. We don't want any dice that are going out to customers to look awful. So we're making sure that we take every precaution that we can to prevent them from being awful. With that being said and done, though, we are going to call it a day here. And we will see you all tomorrow. Hope to see you there. And have a great night. Thank you. Bye bye.